In this video, we're going to look at completing the sprites that we need for the second part of the Zool game. And so we have a few more to go left off from the last video. Basically, we need to do the jelly monster, the bee monster, and then a couple other weird things. We'll go through it here in a second. So first up, let's create the jelly, the sprite. So I'm going to that's under hazards. We're going to put it under here. We're going to create a sprite there. And we'll import that jelly sprite. Let's see if I have it yet. Yeah, there I have it. Here's the standard jelly sprite. This is when he's moving along on a flat surface. So we'll grab that. Here's our jelly. Now the origin for the jelly is a little bit strange. We want to make sure to set this to 16 and this to 10. So that's going to be our location of our, try that again, 16 and 10. I'm just trying to click outside the field so it'll take it. Yeah, so right there is where we want the origin to be. And then for the collision mask, we have to set it this way. And we want all the collision masks for the jellies to be the same. So here it's too big. So we're going to change it to manual rectangle. And then the numbers we're going to use for left is going to be 8. And for top is also going to be 8. And then for right is 22. And for bottom is 25. So that's our collision mask for the jellies. You also want to give it a name. So let's do that. So sprite underscore jelly. Anything else? I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do on that one. Now we can take that one and just duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate it. And we'll make the other jellies. We'll import a new image. This will be jelly up. So open that. And we'll keep the... I think we keep everything the same. Let me just double check here. Yeah, the origin's still the same, and the mask is the same as well. So we've already set up the mask since we duplicated it from the previous object. We've got that set up. So that looks good. Do it again. I'll give it a name. So I'll call it Sprite Jelly Up. Cool. And then duplicate that. And this will be jelly down. And we'll load that sprite for jelly down. Okay. Keep the collision mask the same and the origin the same. And then the last jelly thing is when the jelly dies. So let's do that one. Now typically that doesn't need a collision box. Let me look at my reference game and see what I'm doing there. Yeah, so yeah, it really doesn't matter on this one like I thought, but we'll still duplicate. Here the origin's a little different. We're doing well, first let's do the name. This is called die, object jelly die. It's smaller than the other jelly sprites. And we're setting the origin then to 8. We're just going to center it, I think. I think this is 16 by 16, so we're just centering it. And then for the collision mask, we're just going to say full image rectangle, because nothing's going to really collide with it. So we're just setting it to a kind of a default value. And now we have our jellies all done. Next is the bees. So we're looking at the bees. Now there's one that flies right, one that flies left, and then a bee that dies, and then there's like something called a splat, and then a sprite enemy limit. And this is something the user's not going to see, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's start with the first bee one. So again, under hazards, create a new sprite. And we'll call this sprite SPR underscore. We'll call it bee fly right. Bee fly right. And we'll import that image. Here's our bee. That's the left one. We'll do it from that. And then for the bee, we want to make sure that we get the origin set to 16 for X and 20 for Y. See what that looks like. Kind of in the middle there. Yeah, I think you could just say middle center. Yeah, and it would work. And then for the mask, collision mask, we're going to say another manual collision mask. So manual rectangle, we'll keep it rectangular, but the numbers are 6 for left, 19 for top. For right, we're doing 24, and bottom is 35. And that's everything. So now we have our first bee sprite ready to go. We can duplicate that one and just change the sprite now. Duplicate. I guess we have to change the name to, so I say fly left. Import that left image. We'll leave everything else the same. Same origin, same collision mask. And then there's also a bee that dies. So let's do that one. We can just do that from scratch, I guess. The dying ones really don't share a lot with the ones that are active in the game, so we can just create it. Import that image. The dying bee is here, kind of falls apart. And for the collision mask on the dying bee, let's see. We want to center this so the animation looks right. And then for the collision mask, we're just going to say full image rectangle. And that's our bee sprite. So we need an enemy limit sprite, and we'll use a full image bounding box. And this is used as an invisible barrier for enemy objects that move around in a level. It just something that an object can hit that realizes, oh, I can't go any further. I need to turn around. Again, the user's not going to see this sprite, but we're going to put it there. It's not really a hazard, but that's kind of where they want us to put it. So we'll say create sprite. Sprite, we'll call it enemy limit. And this is just for the level designers, so they can see this. We'll import that sprite. Those are lift limits. Yeah, it's right here. That one. And then for the details on the enemy limit, let's take a look at that. Origin will leave it at the top left corner, and then for the collision mask, we're going to use full image rectangle as our collision mask. So we'll change that. So full image rectangle, and now the whole sprite is going to be able to be collided with. Last thing to look at, I think, in the hazards group, though I don't see it there. Yeah. I guess we'll get to that later. So now we want to go to our icons group. Do we have that group yet? We haven't made that one yet. So we're going to have to create that, I suppose, at this level. So we say create group or add group. And we're going to call this one icons. So now we have a new folder kind of thing. And this is going to contain all the sprites that are specific to the user interface, like the score, the lives, things like that. They're all just visual. They don't interact with anything. Collision because of that, the collision settings don't make any difference. And the origin will place the origin on all of these for ease of use or ease of reference. So let's look at what some of these might look like. First one is the digits we're going to use on the screen for the score and other things. So let's create a new sprite here. We're going to call this one sprite icon digits. There we go, and we'll import those sprites. Now, have I actually created those yet? I don't think I have, so I'm going to have to go get those. I'll do that offline. I'll be back in a second. All right, resuming. So here's our digits. I want to use those. And then you can see them all there. Next, we want to do health. So we're going to show this with see, health is this one. So we'll call it that. Sprite icon health. And here we're just going to center these. Collision mask doesn't matter. Next up, we want to create the high score kind of title. Let's see if we can find that. Here it is. And here we'll say high score, sprite underscore icon underscore high score. Well, oh, we got that already. Center it. Next, we create another one. This one is lives. So we're going to use this image for lives. Again, we want to center it. Give it a name. So sprite underscore icon lives. adding more. We need one more for percent. We need a percent sign. So let's look for that. Here's our percent. Percent. Again, we'll center it. This next one's kind of weird. It's called the collect sprite. So let's try it. I don't see it. See if I can find it. Here it is. This one's weird. It's got this, plus it has all these arrow things. So they're using it for two different purposes. But for now, we'll call it sprite icon collect. And this object, well, once you create the object, it's going to be in control of counting how many candies are still in the room, and if a certain percentage of candies has been picking up already, then it'll turn itself into an arrow and tell you where to go looking for the exit from the room. We want to center this. That's all we want to do with that. Then we need a sprite for the score. That's this one. Again, we'll center it. That's all we need for that. I guess we have to name it. The last icon we need is the one for the time, because we have a time limit on this game. So we're going to create one based on the time. That's this one. We'll center that one too. And that's all of our icons. So next we need a miscellaneous folder under sprites. So we're going to create another group. And we'll call this MISC. And it's in here we'll create a new sprite. I'll have to go get those two. So hang on. So looking at miscellaneous, we're going to add some more sprites here. So we're going to create images from here, and we're going to start with the collect sprite. Let's see if I can find that one. Thought I had it. Here it is. Now this one, these are all the different types of candy that Zool can pick up. The settings for this one probably a little bit strange. We're going to leave the origin up at the top corner, and we're going to make a full image and rectangle for the collision mask, because we want to make these easy to pick up. So we'll say full image rectangle. Leave everything else the same. Now it's going to randomize these, so they're all going to be worth the same amount of points, but they're randomized. The pictures of each one is going to be randomized. The next one, let's give this a name though first. We'll call this one collect. Right, and then next one we're going to add is it's called the 100 points. And this one kind of just floats up from when you pick up one of the collectible items. So it looks like this. Just checking on the settings for it. Yeah, see, the origin is there, and the collision mask. We're also going to make full image and rectangle, although I don't think that matters. And we'll call this one Sprite 100 points. We need a sprite called Twinkle. So we're going to add that. Here's the Twinkle sprite. And on this one, the settings should be top left corner, and then collision mask, again, full image rectangle. Now the exit sprite, this is the one that we use to show. This only appears near the end of the level once most of the candy's been picked up. Then this one will appear. Let's see if I can find it. It's pretty distinctive. Must be small. Yeah, there it is. And on this one, since you do have to collide with it, the Zool has to collide with it, the collision mask is more important. Here we're just going to center it. And then for the collision mask, we're going to make it circular. So let's do that. We go here, we say manual. Here we say ellipse. And then we can resize the ellipse down. Let's see what settings that we should use. So here you'd say 34. And this would be 34. And this would be 62. And 62. Gets it right in the middle. All right, and then we're going to call this one exit. And then our last one is for the parallax effect in the background. We're going to add some clouds. So let's do that. And this one's really strange. Let's see, if you find clouds. Here's the clouds. And the settings for this, let's see what we have. We're going to keep it top left corner for the origin. For the collision mask, nothing collides with it, so we just leave it at automatic. It gets weird when we try to use this in the game, but cool. So we have our list of sprites. We're ready to go to start some coding finally. But again, this is the complete set of sprites. I don't think there's any more sprites that we've missed. So these are all the sprites we're going to need for the rest of the game. Thanks.